Right, so you'd think with Labour's corruption minister Tulip Siddiq being investigated for an alleged multi-billion pound corruption scandal in Bangladesh would see Keir Starmer steer clear of any further controversial appointments, especially where that word corruption is concerned. And that goes double now that Starmer has expressed his full confidence in Siddiq to continue to oversee allegations of financial corruption here in the UK, despite being investigated overseas for that very thing. But no, he's decided after months of it being mooted that the time is now right to announce Peter Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness and his mentor, since he raised him from the political grave he occupied somewhere far beneath the bottom of the barrel Starmer had already scraped through, to be the new ambassador for the US. It is a move that's been discussed for a while, Starmer having chosen to side with and campaign for the Democrats in the US. Stupid, given the possibility Biden and then Harris could lose, and lose they did, deservedly, since they are so overtly pro-Zionist as Starmer is. But it left him with a big orange man-baby-shaped problem as the incoming president, and so playing the Jeffrey Epstein card, someone both Mandelson and Trump had links to, seems to be the thinking behind this. Friends with someone like that seen as a benefit. What isn't being discussed is that just like Siddiq, Mandelson, or rather the lobbying firm he runs, is also under investigation right now for corruption. So just how crooked is Starmer's Labour that when on the day a massive corruption scandal hits, he goes ahead and creates another one?
Let me just either you to scotch a rumour or confirm a rumour. There's talk swirling around when the ambassadorial positions may be handed out that you may be headed for the United States.
No. Everyone who knows me very well knows I'm heading towards Wiltshire, not Washington. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I am going to go back to the people from whence I came, and the sheep and the cattle and my dogs. Thank you very much.
But you might make
He's going to cultivate his garden, as Voltaire said.
Right, so that was Peter Mandelson denying any rumour of potentially being made the UK ambassador to the US. So of course, as sure as night follows day, or in his case, night follows night, he is the Prince of Darkness, he has been made the UK ambassador to the US. It was bad enough when Starmer brought him back into Labour as an advisor. One of the worst elements of the Blair government going. A man who was forced to resign as a minister twice under Blair in absolute disgrace. But there do not seem to be depths to which Starmer won't sink to, and a scum level that Mandelson won't rise to the surface of. And announcing Mandelson getting this big job in the US on the same day it came out that his corruption minister was being investigated for alleged corruption abroad, and he was keeping her in place. It's peak Starmer, really. In fact, we should say it is peak Starmer's new chief of staff, as it was the now infamous Starmer handler Morgan McSweeney, the architect behind the downfall of Jeremy Corbyn, who brought Mandelson in that advisory capacity. The guy who said he works every day to undermine Jeremy Corbyn, yet expected all of us who backed Corbyn to get behind Starmer. Well, he can kiss my rosy red behind. But why do this? Why now appoint Mandelson to this role? Well, Peter Mandelson does have this uncanny ability to forge links with very wealthy people. He does like to hang out with them. And much of this stems from the very familiar relationship, the very well-known public relationship we now know Mandelson had with paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein, and by extension others who have also had links to Epstein, including the incoming next US president, Donald Trump. And if anyone can repair the damage Starmer has done by having had his people actively campaigning against Trump in the US presidential election, it is thought Mandelson might be a good fit for that. This is a guy, though, who will sell this country out to the rich. He does really, really love to hang out with ridiculously wealthy people. And often it is the case that this is done via his lobbying firm, Global Counsel, who represent an awful lot of them. This is a firm that represents banks and oligarchs. Infamously, it lobbied on behalf of British gas parent firm Centrica when they were mass sacking their gas engineers, and a lot more besides. Another very relevant example came in 2022 under the Tory government, because let's face it, whether they are blue Tories or red Tories, they really aren't much different from each other, as while the Tories were busy selling off chunks of our NHS, along came Mandelson and Global Counsel, at that point representing Palantir. No stranger to getting UK government contracts, is very rampantly pro-Israel, and is run by Silicon Valley Trump backer Peter Thiel, who also set up PayPal alongside another Trump backer, Elon Musk, currently threatening to undermine our entire democracy by funding Nigel Farage's Reform UK Limited company, masquerading as a political party, to the tune of £100 million, far expending therefore pretty much every other party combined if done in the right way. Palantir was also the firm that was reputedly linked to Cambridge Analytica and was accused of helping them to mine data over Brexit, another Farage link as well as a Mandelson one. A whistleblower called Christopher Wiley said that Palantir showed Cambridge Analytica how to harvest data from Facebook, as one for instance. At any rate, Palantir, as a result of Global Counsel lobbying of the Tory government, got a £360 million NHS data contract. All these rich people Mandelson has ties to that also have ties to Trump, such is evidently the thinking as to why Mandelson is well placed for this role. But it ignores one small, very underreported and very, very significant detail, and that is that Global Counsel have been under investigation by Britain's lobbying regulator, the Office of the Registrar for Consultant Lobbyists. Quite a mouthful really for a regulator, and have been under investigation by them since October. And they are under investigation for lobbying government ministers on behalf of a foreign government interest that was not on their client list. Obviously, where the firm is concerned, that isn't the same as saying Mandelson himself is directly involved here. However, it is his firm, and by association, this is not a good look, therefore. The issue concerns the matter of UK free ports and building trade ties with them on behalf of the Qatar Free Zones Authority, Qatar's version of the same thing. Free ports being part of this country designated by the government, in their words, to improve economic investment, but does so in reality by offering favourable tax and customs incentives, essentially allowing some parts of the country to economically undercut others. It's a race to the bottom kind of stuff, really. Well, Qatar have these as well, and Global Counsel were lobbying ministers on behalf of the QFZA to twin their respective free ports, the incentive being even more favourable trade and import-export terms. The problem here arose because all lobbying companies, in the name of some transparency, have to register their list of clients. So it is known on whose behalf these lobbying firms are acting upon, and Mandelson's outfit did not have the QFZA listed as one of its clients. Therefore, this was a breach of lobbying rules on the face of it. This is what is now being investigated. The Democracy for Sale blog of Peter Gagan produced a truly excellent article on this story, pretty much an exclusive for him because nobody else that I've seen has picked this story up at all. It's titled Breaking Peter Mandelson's Lobbying Firm Under Investigation, so very much on the nose title, but it's also a very, very revealing expose. And here is a short excerpt of a much longer article which you absolutely need to read to get to the bottom of this scandal. So do Google the article. Excerpt reading, Spotlight on Corruption senior legal researcher George Havenhand welcomed the investigation. Serious questions remain unanswered, like why this lobbying operation was not publicly recorded on the register, and whether that's a consequence of fundamental defects in our system for lobbying transparency. This investigation should shed much needed light on what happened, and may bring into focus reforms needed to improve the system. Global Counsel was co-founded by former New Labour impresario Peter Mandelson after he left office. The company advises on policy and regulatory matters worldwide. Previous Global Counsel clients include Nestle, Bank of America, Vodafone and Peter Thiel's Palantir, as well as now sanctioned Russian oligarchs including Oleg Deripaska. Mandelson is seen as close to Keir Starmer. Ahead of the general election, Global Counsel spent £36,000 seconding a staff member to the office of then Shadow Treasury Minister Tulip Siddiq. Currently, Mandelson is running for Chancellor at Oxford University. He stepped down from Global Counsel's board in June, but remains its president and holds a significant financial stake. Oh, so we're back to Tulip Siddiq as well again, are we? One of Mandelson's bunch worked for her, did they? Do they still work for her? What goes around comes around in the corrupt world surrounding Keir Starmer's Labour, it seems. This is a far bigger issue than Epstein links, which have been known about for years, and yet have never impeded either Starmer or Mandelson, as much as we might choose to fixate on them and point out to them and be reviled and disgusted by them. A corruption investigation into his company, though, perhaps that ought to. I wonder why it isn't bigger news, therefore. Meanwhile, whilst I've been referencing Tulip Siddiq throughout this video, perhaps you don't know the story or the gist behind the multi-billion-pound Bangladeshi corruption allegations she has been named in, no small part likely due to her family ties to the deposed Bangladeshi regime of Sheikh Hasina, now living in exile in India and happens to be Tulip Siddiq's auntie. Get all the details of a massive scandal opening up on Starmer just in time for Christmas in this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch. And please do like, share and subscribe to the channel before you do so, though if you haven't already, it all helps to support the channel after all with new content dropping daily. Very much appreciated as that would be, and I will hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers folks.